The 2006 Citroën C5 came at a time when car design was going through a transition. Citroën had already built a reputation for being unconventional, and this car carried that legacy proudly. Its exterior was smooth and aerodynamic, with flowing lines that gave it a very European elegance. The front grille featured that bold double chevron logo, and the headlights stretched just enough to make it look confident but never aggressive. It had the kind of design that didn't scream for attention, it simply looked refined. One of the biggest talking points about the 2006 C5 was its suspension system. Citroën had long been known for its Hydractive suspension, and this version was more advanced than ever. Instead of using regular springs and shocks, the C5 floated on a system of hydraulic spheres that adjusted the ride height automatically. That meant you could glide over rough roads as if they weren't even there. The car literally adjusted its stiffness and damping based on driving conditions. On a smooth highway, it felt like a luxury cruiser. On uneven back roads, it soaked up bumps effortlessly. It was a car that seemed to hover rather than roll. Under the hood, Citroën offered a range of engines, both petrol and diesel. The lineup started with modest 4 cylinders and went up to more powerful options, like the 2.0 and 2.2 HDI diesels that were popular across Europe. Those diesel engines were smooth, torquey, and very efficient, which made them perfect for long-distance cruising. The petrol engines were quieter and more responsive, giving a relaxed but capable driving experience. It wasn't a car built for racing, but for covering hundreds of kilometers in absolute comfort, and it did that better than most of its rivals. Inside the 2006 Citroën C5, the cabin was all about comfort and serenity. The seats were wide and soft, almost like armchairs, and the dashboard was designed with a mix of modern curves and practical simplicity. Everything you touched felt high quality. The materials were soft to the touch, the steering wheel was solid, and the instrument panel had a futuristic glow. Citroën even paid attention to noise isolation, engine noise, road noise, wind noise, they were all kept to a minimum. It was one of those cars where you could drive for hours and step out feeling fresh. The technology inside was impressive for its time. You got features like dual-zone automatic climate control, a built-in navigation system, parking sensors, rain-sensing wipers, and even a multi-function steering wheel. Safety was a top priority too, with multiple airbags, ABS, ESP, and a strong body structure that gave it a 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating. Citroën wanted this car to feel not just comfortable, but safe and smart as well. Another detail that made the C5 unique was how it blended tradition with innovation. It still had that classic Citroën suspension magic, but now with digital controls and improved reliability. It offered a traditional sedan body, but the fastback-like rear gave it a sleek, modern look. It was the kind of car that quietly turned heads when parked next to its competitors. Driving the 2006 Citroën C5 wasn't about showing off speed or power. It was about enjoying the journey. The steering was light, perfect for city driving, and the car felt stable and planted on highways. Thanks to that suspension, even speed bumps felt like gentle waves. It was the definition of smooth. If you were a driver who valued comfort over raw performance, this was a car built for you. In terms of reliability and ownership, the C5 had its ups and downs. The complex hydraulic suspension scared off some buyers who worried about maintenance costs, but for those who looked after it properly, the system proved surprisingly durable. The diesel engines were known for lasting hundreds of thousands of kilometers if serviced regularly. It was a car that rewarded careful ownership with a long, satisfying life. And of course, Citroën's attention to design didn't stop at comfort, it extended to the details. The lighting, the chrome accents, the shape of the dashboard, even the font on the instrument cluster, all felt carefully chosen to create a calm atmosphere. French cars have always had a certain personality, and the 2006 C5 was no exception. It felt more like a car designed for people who love to drive, rather than people who just want to get somewhere. Over the years, the 2006 Citroën C5 became something of a hidden gem. It never reached the sales numbers of German rivals like the Volkswagen Passat or the BMW 3 Series, but among enthusiasts, it earned respect. People who owned one often said they couldn't find another car that rode as smoothly or felt as unique. That's a special kind of legacy, one that only a few cars managed to build. Looking back now, the 2006 Citroën C5 represents a time when Citroën wasn't afraid to take risks. It combined advanced technology, comfort, and style in a way that few other brands could match. It didn't follow trends, it created its own path. That's what makes it memorable even today. If you ever get a chance to drive one, you'll understand why people still talk about that Hydractive suspension with a smile. You'll glide over the road, barely feeling the surface, and realize you're experiencing something truly different. That's what Citroën was all about, innovation that made driving feel like magic. The 2006 Citroën C5 may not be the fastest, flashiest, or most famous sedan of its era, but it's one of the most characterful. It stands as a reminder that comfort and engineering can be just as exciting as horsepower and speed. A car that doesn't just move you physically, but makes you feel something as you drive. That's rare, and that's what makes the C5 special. So if you've ever dismissed Citroën as quirky or strange, take another look at the 2006 C5. It's proof that being different isn't a weakness, it's a statement. A statement of comfort, creativity, and quiet confidence. The kind of car that doesn't just drive you to your destination but takes you there in style, serenity, and unmistakable French flair.